Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to Peter's Movie Club, where every Friday I pick a nostalgic movie from my past, some movie that I loved from my past, and I pick it to watch for the week ahead, and I hope that you guys watch it with me. And then I also do a reaction to the movie that I picked the previous week. So let's get into the movie that I picked last week. Now, I have to tell you, I was very, very excited because I had a movie. Oh, what is going on? I had a movie that I wanted to pick for this week, but the movie that I had picked out for this week, I thought that it was already up on Tubi, but it's actually coming to Tubi. So it's not there yet, but it will be coming on Peter's Movie Club very, very soon. So I'm very excited about that. So I had to go in today and I had to like pick another movie, and I was actually just scanning through and I saw this movie come up and I was like, oh, I loved that movie when it came out. Like, I loved that movie. My friends and I used to reference that movie and stuff. I thought it came out earlier than it did. It actually came out in 1996. And so I was like, oh, this will be a good movie. Like, I haven't seen this movie. I think I've only seen it once or twice. And I was like, I haven't seen this since like the year it came out or whatever. And my friends and I would sit around, we watched it. And so I was like, okay, I can remember my roommate and she and I watching it, and maybe with my boyfriend at the time, I don't know. But anyway, so I was like, this will be a good movie to pick because I haven't seen it in so long, so I want to watch it again. I remember it ends very, very sad, but I don't remember how it ends sadly, but I just remember that it's a very sad ending, but I will now sad in just a second. Okay, so before I get into that, I want to talk about the movie for last week for Peter's Movie Club. So last week I picked the movie Gloria, the original from 1980 with Gina Rowlands, and the reason that I picked it was it had been on my list for quite some time, but I had just found out that Gina Rowlands, I think she passed away on, I believe it was August 14th, and it was interesting because while I was watching this movie, I was like, how old was Gina Rowlands while she filmed this movie? The movie came out in 1980. I looked her up, and she was born, I believe, in 1930, which means that she was like 94 when she passed away or something like that. But a great life, and she was such a fantastic actress, and I loved so many movies that Gina Rowlands was in. So I was really, really excited to watch this movie. Now, there was a remake of this movie with Sharon Stone. I don't know what year it came out, but I've seen both of those. What I didn't remember going into this movie was that both versions were kind of overlapping in my head. It has been quite some time since I've seen the original 1980 version of Gloria. I mean, it might have been since I was in high school. Because I remember the movies are similar ideas, but like the background story is different. And so I did not remember this version of Gloria. I think my mom like introduced me to it originally. And I remember like maybe like I can kind of see myself like watching it like in our TV room when I was like in high school or something like that. But anyway, and it's very similar to like the kind of movies that my mom liked, so it would make sense that she and I watched it together. I was really mesmerized by it. You know, whenever I get done with the movie, I always ask myself, like, would you watch this movie again, or like, are you good? I got done with the movie and I was like, I would definitely watch that again. Like, I would watch it next month. Like, it wasn't the most fantastic movie in the world, but it was a good movie, you know? It's a great thriller, and not like scary thriller, but like, you know, like on the run kind of thriller. So the movie is with Gina Rowlands, and like I said, Sharon Stone did a remake of it. I think both of them are good. I actually noticed that both of them are on Tubi. So I use Tubi or YouTube for all the movies that I pick so that they are free and easily accessible to people out there. Tubi is available in Mexico, United States, Canada, UK, and parts of Europe right now. But all the movies that I'm picking are on other streaming apps as well, and a lot of them are on YouTube. So you can go find them other places. In fact, I was looking at some Christmas movies that I'm going to pick during the holiday season, and some of the movies that I'm going to pick are not on Tubi. They're actually on YouTube. I'm going to pick YouTube movies. But I went in and I watched this. I actually started in the chair last night, and then I ended up finishing it outside because it was such a nice night. It was like, it had rained a little bit. It was humid. I was watching this movie. It's like in the humidity of New York City in the summer, and I thought, I'm going to go outside and finish this movie, and I did. And I loved it. So what this movie is about is Gloria is like this woman, and she's like 50, and she's living in this apartment in New York City, and she's been friends with like, she's spent time in prison, and she's been friends with like mobsters and things like that. You don't really know what her connection is to it, or if she worked for them, or what she did, or if she's just like a girlfriend of one of theirs. You don't ever really know what her connection is to them. But you kind of assume that she did some work for them. But she's living in this apartment building, and she kind of lives like a sad life. Like, she saved a lot of money, she has a cat, and things like that. But when the movie starts, it's about this family, and this woman's coming home, and she's Puerto Rican, and she's married to a guy that's white. And she's coming home, and she just went to the grocery store, and there's all these people in the apartment building that are, like, watching her. Like, all these mobster guys. They're, like, watching her. So she comes home, and what you find out is that her husband was an accountant for the mob, and he's basically sold all the secrets that he has kept in this book to the FBI, and so, in the government, and things like that. And so he is like, they put a mark out on him. The mob has put a mark out on him, his wife, her mother, and their 2 kids to kill them, to basically like send a lesson, send a message, like, don't cross us. And so all the mobsters are like in the building. Well, they're waiting for any second for them to like come in and kill all of them. They've got guns out. They're going to like fight their way out of it and all this kind of stuff. And they get a knock on the door, and it's Gloria. It's Gina Rollins. And she's friends with the mother. And she makes some joke about, I ran out of sugar or whatever. Well, the mother convinces her, she wants her to take the kids. The daughter, who is like 10 or 12 years old, refuses to go with Gloria. But the young boy, whose name is Phil, he's 6, and the father convinces him to go with Gloria, even though he begrudgingly doesn't want to go with Gloria. Gloria's like, I don't like kids. I never wanted kids. No, I'm not taking them. But like, she ends up taking this Phil kid. So she takes him down to, and the dad says to him, like, you're the man. Don't ever forget that. Who's the man? He's like, I'm the man. And he's like this little 6-year-old kid. He's really sweet. And he is so good in this role. This kid is fantastic. I looked it up. He's only ever done this movie, but he was fantastic in it. So I don't know if he was like a found actor in New York City at that time or what, but I didn't read that far into it. So he goes with Gloria to her apartment, and they like instantly hate each other. And he tells her, he's like, I don't like you. You're not my mother. And she's like, I don't want to be your mother. And she's like, do you like cats? And she like throws him her cat and stuff like that. Well, she hears this sound at the window, and she looks out the window, and she sees their windows being blown out. So she knows they're killed. Well, what you don't know at this time is that she's friends with the people that killed them. So she knows that they're there to kill them, right? So the whole movie is basically her and this little boy on the run, and she's trying to protect this little boy, and he's got this book that his dad has given him that has all the secrets of the mob in it. And the mob does not want this book to get out anywhere. And they also want the boy, because the boy, they think, witnessed the murder. And so he can, like, you know, point him out in a lineup and things like that. But he didn't witness the murder. So it's basically this whole, like, they're on the run for several days, and Gina Rollins is trying to protect this boy. And they don't really like each other at all, which is so funny. And they're very kind of, like, similar attitudes. There's this one scene where she's like, I'm going in this bar and I'm having a drink, and if you're here when I get it back, I'm here, you're here, and if not, whatever. And he's like, bye, Gloria, bye, you little insect. It's like, he's hilarious in this movie. And it's one of my favorite scenes is she's kind of decided that she doesn't want him anymore, and he doesn't know where else to go, and he has no family or anything, right? And he's like literally holding on to her, and she's like trying to get down the street, and he's like holding on to her, and she's like, get off me, run home, go find another family. And he's like, no. Well, this car pulls up, and it's all the gangsters. And she's like, talking to them, and they're like, Gloria, and she's like, he's just a 6-year-old boy. He didn't see anything. You don't need him. And this is like the moment where it all changes, right? And the guys are like, Gloria, you don't know this kid. Just give us, we need the boy. We need the book. And she like takes out this gun, and she just starts shooting up this car. I mean, like, she kills like everybody in the car. And then they're on the run, and then they're in this hotel, and they're in that hotel. And then she tries to go make a deal with the mob. But before she does, there's like this very endearing scene in the bathroom when she like asks him to run a hot bath so she can steam her clothes, and he's hanging up these clothes. And throughout the whole movie, she's like asked him, like, do you want me to be your mother? And he's like, I have a mother. You're not my mother. And in this moment, he's like, I don't have a mother no more. Like, you're my mother. You're my father. You're my family. He like jokes in the movie. I mean, he doesn't joke because he's like 6 years old, but she knows it's a joke. And he's like, you're my girlfriend, Gloria. You can be my girlfriend. And at one point, he's even like, you know, Gloria, like, it's just not going to work out between, she's like, this kid is driving me crazy. She tells him, she's like, you're driving me crazy, kid, right? And so the scene in the bathroom is so endearing, because basically what he's saying is, I have nobody. Like, you're the only person I have in the entire world. And she has nobody either. Like, everybody that she had was in the mob, and they won't protect her either. But she knows, like, she's looking out the window, and she's smoking a cigarette, and she's like, they've got everything covered. They've got the train stations, the airports, the bus stations. There's no way for us to go. So she knows she's going to have to go in and talk to them. Well, she tells him that, like, if she doesn't come back within 3 hours, for him to take a bus or train to Pittsburgh, and that she'll meet him. I thought they said at the train station, but then it's like a cemetery that he goes to in Pittsburgh. So she goes and she meets with the mob, and they're like not having it. And so she's like, well, I'm going to leave the book with you, and I'm going to walk out. And so she walks out. When she's in the elevator, they start shooting up the elevator. So you don't know if she's dead or alive. And so this kid, Phil, he goes to this cemetery in Pittsburgh. He gets to Pittsburgh on the train. He goes to, it's so funny because this one guy is talking to him at the end, and he's like, do you know where to go? And he's like, this older guy, and he's like, you're a very nice man. He was like, but no, I don't need your help. This kid is so funny in the movie. He's like so fantastic as an actor. And so at one point in the movie, Gloria takes him to some random cemetery, and she's like, you need to say goodbye to your family. And he's just like in front of like some random person's gravestone. He's like, is this where my parents are buried? And she's like, no. She's like, but you need to say goodbye. And it's like, no, but it's so like just the way she thinks. She's so cold. And he's like, it's so hilarious because she like warms up to this kid. It's really about the building of their relationship and her wanting to take care of him at any expense. And so that scene had happened, and he didn't really know what to do with this. I mean, he's sick, saying goodbye to his family, right? So he goes to this cemetery, and at that point, he just thinks she's dead because she never showed up. And so he goes to the cemetery, and he's like talking to this gravestone, and he says, Gloria, I know you're dead. And he's like, I know you're with my family. Tell them I said hi. But, you know, I really loved you and all this kind of stuff. And then he walks away and he sees this car pull up and it's this limo and this woman gets out and she's got like this, it's Gina Rowlands dressed up like this older woman and she's like, come give your grandma a hug. And so you know that they're like going to be on the run and like she's going to be the grandma and he's going to be like her grandson and they're like on the run together and he like takes the wig off and stuff. It's really a sweet movie. It's really a fantastic, it's really not so much about the mobsters or them being on the run as it is this endearing relationship that builds between this woman that never wanted kids and this kid that never wanted anything to do with her, and they build this like this amazing bond. It's really, really sweet. She is such a badass in this movie. There's a scene when they're like in the train station, they're in this restaurant, and he orders this pie, and it's real funny. And she notices out of the corner of her eye, there's like these mobsters sitting at this table. There's like 6 of them. She gets up in this crowded restaurant. She like pulls out her gun, and she's like, "Put your guns in my purse." And she's like, and they like run out the back door. She's like she pulls a gun on these guys, like in the middle of this restaurant. Everybody's looking at her. I mean, it's like crazy. This movie is crazy. They never really explain the connection. In the Sharon Stone movie, I don't know how I remember this, but she, like the opening scene is her getting out of prison. And she goes to her boyfriend's house, who's like a mobster, and she's like asking for her things and her money. And the boy is already there. Like something must have happened before that. Like they killed his family and they have the boy. And so she takes the boy to like piss off the boyfriend, and then they're on the run together. That's how the Sharon Stone movie happens. I actually want to watch it. They're both on Tubi, like I said, like they're right next to each other on Tubi if you put in Gloria. So I think I'll probably watch that. But I was so happy that I watched it. I just, you know, it's interesting some of these movies that I watch. We've watched 25 movies so far. It's 25 movies that like in some way impacted me when I was younger and formed me into who I am today. And I'm just, I don't know, it was really, I watched this last night. I was like, it really reminded me of my mom and she and I watching movies together and she being like, I really want you to see this movie, like you'll love it and whatever. And I watched it and I just was like, this is, I don't know, it's such an endearing movie. And I really, really loved it. And she was so fantastic in it and such a fantastic actress. So I'm so glad I picked it for the week. Okay, now that brings me to this week's movie, which, hold on a second, let me get out of this. This week's movie is a movie that, like I said, I think I've only seen this movie like once, maybe twice, but my friends and I used to talk about it back in the day. It's actually not even on my list, I don't think, of movies to pick. And because it's on hold on a second, the section that is called Award Winners, but it's also backed by popular demand. And the movie came out in 1996, and the movie is Set It Off. I don't even remember, I know it's about a bank robbery, and these women setting up this bank robbery, and it doesn't go the way that they want it to go, and then plan this bank robbery because they're like, are always like struggling for money and stuff like that. It has Queen Latifah and Jada Pinkett. And so I'm really excited about watching this movie because it has been a long time since I've seen this movie. So the movie for this week is Set It Off. It came out in 1996. It's 2 hours and 2 minutes. It is classified as a thriller, action, crime, drama, and independent movie. And it says 4 African-American women in Los Angeles, all in dire financial circumstances, resort to robbing banks with action-packed tragic consequences. And it stars Jada Pinkett Smith, Queen Latifah, Vivica A. Fox, Kimberly Elise, and Blair Underwood. I am so excited to watch this movie because it's been, I mean, it's probably been since 1996 or 1997 whenever it came out, like probably at the Blockbuster was when I watched it. So anyway, I'm really excited to see this movie. I may have seen it like on cable, like back in the day, like here or there, and had it on in the background, but I don't really remember the last time. I do remember the soundtrack. I remember that, oh my God, how did I just remember this? I remember, because I got sober in 1994, and this came out in 1996. I remember them being on the roof, and they're smoking pot to that Bone Thugs and Harmony song. I don't know why I just remembered that, but anyway, that boom, boom, you know that song? Anyway, oh my God, I'm so excited to watch this movie. I do remember the soundtrack is phenomenal for this movie, so I'll probably be downloading the whole soundtrack. Anyway, let me know if you're gonna watch it in the comment section below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.